Today is a day where I just want to get a few small things done on the BMW that I have pushed off for a while because a lot of the wiring supplies have arrived and I want to get the BMW into a state where we could potentially fire it up. For today, I want to do a quick oil change just so it doesn't run with the old oil in case we get it to run once we've installed the ignition and charging system and wired that up. I'm not going to change the filter now, I'm going to do that later once I've checked the engine. It has a few leaks that I need to address. What I also need to address today is the exhaust fitment. I've pushed this off for so long because the last time it was a little bit wonky and I just didn't want to deal with it, but now is the time that it has to finally be done. So we're going to do that and then maybe work on a few other small things like the shifter and stuff like that. But before we do that, I quickly want to show you all of the wiring supplies that have arrived because there are a few very cool things. This is everything that has arrived until now, and I've ordered a bunch of new wires in different sizes and colors. Initially I had the Moto Gadget wiring kit, but when I drew up my wiring diagram and calculated all the different wire sizes, I noticed that the wires I need can be much smaller than in the original Moto Gadget wiring kit, because look at these wires from the bar end indicators. They are so tiny, and I can understand why you want to go a little bit bigger. For one, it's good to have a margin of safety, and on the other side it's also easier to crimp a little bit bigger wires. So I went with a middle ground. I have a bunch of different sizes and colors because now that I've chosen to go with my own wires, I can actually choose my own color coding from the same company, which actually made it super simple to shop those wires. I'm going to link them down below. I got a bunch of heat shrink and I got all of the different sizes because since this is the first time that I'm doing it, I don't really know which sizes I need. So I'm going to go through it, note which sizes I'm using, and then for the future I can only order those. But for now, I got all of the sizes. So that is the wire side. I then needed to get some connectors. I ordered a bunch of ring terminals in different sizes for different gauge wires. But what I'm most excited about are the connectors that I've got. Because I want to build something of high quality, I've reached out to a company called R80. They provide kits for Deutsch pin connectors, and they were so kind to send me 2 of their kits. And the good thing about the R80 kits is that you get a high quality pair of crimp pliers. But we get into that once we do the proper wiring. And something that I'm also very excited about, and I didn't get sponsored by them, it's just something that excites me so much because it's technically so advanced, are these miniature plugs, which are called Mizu P25. This tiny thing is one plug, so you can hide those inside the handlebars. They're not very cheap and they're hard to source, so I might have gone a little bit overboard. Anyways, I'm just justifying all of these purchases with the next bike will be basically free. So that is something I'm very excited about. But before we can use that, we need to get working on the BMW. New oil is in, now we can go ahead and deal with the fitment of the exhaust. Hopefully we can get that sorted. Fortunately, the exhaust is finally installed. The fitment is good, I'm very happy with that. It was a very tedious process because I had to take it off a few times, put it back on. The rear brake lever, for example, mounts around the exhaust. So you have to first mount the exhaust and then mount the brake lever. But once I was at that point, I noticed that you can't get the axle in place if the exhaust is already mounted. So I had to take everything back off. All of these things just took a while. And then on the other side, I had the problem with the shifter being too close to the carb. I managed to dial that in so you have enough space to shift up and down. I had to really get used to that while test riding the BMW, that I always had something over my foot when I wanted to shift. The rear brake also works, you have enough room to actually brake, which is nice. And one last thing that I was concerned with, and I still am concerned with, is that the heel of the foot rests on the tip of the exhaust in the back. And I don't know how hot that will be. I told my friend about it and he said maybe because there's the DB killer inside, it doesn't get too hot at the end. So we have to see how that works out. Otherwise, if it doesn't work, then I'm just gonna build a small heat shield that should get rid of that problem. Apart from that, I'm very happy. It's sealed in the front, which was kind of a tedious process. So now we just have to mount all of the parts for the ignition and the charging system underneath the tank. So in the next one, I'm gonna build a bracket for that. And hopefully there's enough space for it because we have a lot of things. This, and the M unit that goes somewhere there. And then the rest is all of the vape ignition and charging system. The control unit that controls the ignition timing, the new dual coils, which fortunately are so much smaller than the original ones. We have the relay. And then lastly, we have the new regulator rectifier that works with the lithium ion battery, because you need a special regulator rectifier for lithium ion batteries. If you want to know why, check out this video right here. And with the BMW being so far prepared now, we can hopefully soon fire it up. But first, we need to get the wiring done. As always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.